Hey guys, Yuri K here. In today's video, I will be discussing artificial sweeteners, providing some examples of them, and describing their side effects and inherent dangers. Artificial sweeteners are one of the many types of sugar substitutes that we use to add to our foods and beverages. The difference being is that artificial sweeteners were created by artificial means. They don't occur naturally in the environment, and this separates them from the existing natural sweeteners. For example, honey, molasses, agave nectar, as well as an assortment of sugar alcohols that occur naturally. One of the artificial sweeteners, for example, sucralose, is normally derived from sugar. Sugar, of course, being a natural sweetener, but sucralose is an artificial derivative in the form of Splenda. Many people believe that artificial sweeteners are a good substitute for sugar, being that they do not contain calories. 1 gram of sugar contains about 4 calories, and 1 teaspoon of sugar has about 4 grams, which gives about 16 calories per teaspoon of sugar. So with artificial sweeteners, we're not taking in those calories, which people will think will have a good and beneficial effect for our waistline. I will explain why this is not true. But first, I will provide examples of some of the most common artificial sweeteners used today. Acesulfame potassium, with a common brand name of Sweet One. Aspartame, commonly packaged as Equal or NutraSweet. Saccharin, commonly labeled as Sweet and Low. And as I mentioned earlier, sucralose, commonly known as Splenda. These 4 provide a feeling of extreme sweetness for our taste buds, providing an effect that is several hundred times sweeter than regular table sugar. Artificial sweeteners, as mentioned, cause weight gain in one of several ways. The first way is that artificial sweeteners desensitize our taste buds, meaning that our taste buds no longer feel the sweetness that they do from regular sugar, and now we expect a much higher level of sweetness in the form of these sweeteners in order to satisfy the palate. The sweetness of regular sugar just doesn't feel the same anymore, and we require a much higher level of sweetness as a result. This will result in our taste buds not being able to draw the line on what is too much sugar. So this will cause us to crave sugary substances even more, and will cause us to overeat, especially on sweet, sugary substances, which by itself is going to cause weight gain. Furthermore, the artificial sweeteners will cause our pancreas to secrete an excess amount of insulin, thinking that it needs to regulate our blood glucose levels. However, the problem with this is that the increase in insulin is going to cause our bodies to store fat, because we tend to store fat more easily in the presence of excess insulin. So initially, the pancreas will secrete all this insulin to try to get under control what it thinks is sugar, but it's really not. So the blood glucose levels from whatever we may have eaten or drank before will initially spike, but then after that, it is going to crash when our blood glucose levels then drop too low, and now our body is going to need some kind of sugar in order to get the blood glucose levels back to normal. This is the same effect as eating a large number of candies and sweets and feeling the initial sugar high in the rush, followed by the subsequent crash. And this is because the brain doesn't get the message fast enough that it needs to tell the pancreas to stop producing insulin. So when we go into insulin overload, it's going to cause our bodies to crash. So now we're going to need to take in sugar just to get ourselves back to normal and feeling well again. So these blood sugar spikes and crashes will also lead to obesity by way of our bodies no longer being sensitive to insulin. So now we're going to have elevated levels of blood sugar levels, because the insulin will no longer be efficient at burning the glucose in the blood for energy or transporting it to the muscles to be stored as glycogen. Rather, the glucose will now be stored in the form of fat, causing us to gain weight. Artificial sweeteners have a way of affecting our digestion and food breakdown process. So when we consume foods with artificial sweeteners, the sweeteners will actually cause the foods to be metabolized in such a way that rather than getting converted to energy, they will be stored directly as fat. Another bad side effect of artificial sweeteners is that they hurt our immune systems and make us more susceptible to illnesses and diseases. And the way this happens is they kill healthy gut bacteria known as gut flora or gut microbiome. Now, these essential bacteria are very important for the breakdown of the food that we eat into enzymes and furthermore to be used as energy for the body. And as we know, about 80% of our immune system begins with the gut. So these healthy bacteria are essential for our health and well-being. The most notorious of the artificial sweeteners that kills healthy gut bacteria is sucralose, also known as Splenda. Another bad side effect of artificial sweeteners is that they damage the healthy cells in the body. They actually break down the cellular wall structure and can cause our cells to mutate, which can potentially lead to another problem, cancer, which is caused by the mutation of cells in excess quantities. In fact, excessive consumption of artificial sweeteners has shown in laboratory mice to cause cancer, and even in humans has been linked to blood and brain cancer. Another harmful effect of artificial sweeteners is that they can negatively impact our moods. They tend to make us more moody, meaning that we will be more prone to depression, anxiety, and panic attacks. And especially for people that have bipolar syndrome, it will make their particular situation much worse than it already is. Artificial sweeteners can also cause persistent headaches, which may eventually lead to migraine headaches. They also affect our nervous system, which may make us more prone to having nervous breakdowns. Artificial sweeteners also harm the brain and cause memory loss. In fact, it has been proven that consuming artificial sweeteners for a long period of time has led to an increased risk of getting Alzheimer's disease. Artificial sweeteners have also shown to harm the reproductive system by slowing down the function of the reproductive process and being less able to conceive as a whole, leading to possible infertility. In addition, artificial sweeteners have been linked to birth defects and low baby birth weights. Artificial sweeteners have also been shown to cause blurred vision and hearing loss. And finally, they have also been shown to cause a number of allergies and allergic reactions, ranging from redness, swelling, or rashes on the skin, to itchy and watery eyes, to sneezing, stuffy, and runny noses. So these are the many reasons on why artificial sweeteners are best to be avoided altogether and are better replaced either with regular sugar, again in limited quantities, or a natural sweetener such as honey, maple syrup, or agave nectar, or even stevia. While all forms of sweeteners, whether artificial or natural, will cause our blood sugar levels to increase, it is these numerous added associated risks with artificial sweeteners which differentiates them from the natural ones and make them much more harmful than the natural versions. It is important not to be deceived by the false premise that artificial sweeteners are a low-calorie and healthy alternative to regular sugar. In fact, we now know that artificial sweeteners are far worse than regular sugar. We have to be especially careful when they're added to our foods and especially our beverages, such as diet sodas, which I have a video on, and I'll link that video down in the info box below. So I hope you guys liked the video on artificial sweeteners. Please comment, share the video, and subscribe, and give me a thumbs up, and stay tuned for more. And remember to follow me on Instagram down in the info box below at UriK0877. Till the next one, bye bye.